Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. I am sporting some lipstick. As you can see, I'm trying out this. It is the Maybelline Superstay 10-hour tint gloss. Now I have put it on and kind of wandering around the house to see if it goes onto my braces, and it doesn't seem to. What I need to do is put it on and it goes on like a gloss, and then I need to wait for it to dry and then kind of pat off the top gloss layer, and then what I'm left with is a stain, as you can see. The only thing is it's a little bit patchy, so there's less of a colour on my top lip. And the only other thing is it makes my lips dry, but I have moisturised them to death this morning to see if this will work out for me, because I've got a party, I'm sure you've heard me saying, that I want to go to, and I've got a darker colour than this that I want to wear for it. So yay, I hope it works, and it's really nice to be wearing lipstick again. Anyway, today we're talking about eyeshadow, and I'm talking about two eyeshadow palettes. I've got the wrong one in front of me. We are talking about the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette versus the Lorac Pro palette. Somebody had asked me to do a review of the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette, and I was sort of trying to do it when I did a tutorial that I don't know whether it's going to go up or not. I've not watched it yet to see if it's okay. But then I thought, well, actually it's quite a long video, because through it I was saying, you know, oh, I wonder how it compares to the Lorac Pro, because they're quite similar. And I thought actually this would be a nice video to do on its own, because I'm sure there's a lot of people in the UK like me that have seen the Lorac Pro palette talked about and are wondering whether it's worth getting it. And I thought it would be really good to sit down and compare the two, because the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette is available on Debenhams. Lorac Pro is a lot more expensive and a lot harder to get hold of for us in the UK, but also for the people in the USA. If you have neither of them, then it may be that they're so similar that you just decide between the two. So we've got the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette that looks like this, and it has 16 eyeshadows in it, and the packaging is very, very sturdy, but it's not particularly travel friendly, in that it's quite heavy, and you know, it's not that it wouldn't stay closed, but it's quite heavy. In another way, I suppose it's more travel friendly because it's a tin, so it would be protected. Lorac Pro also has 16 eyeshadows, but the eyeshadows in the Lorac Pro are a lot smaller than in the Chocolate Bar palette. So I'll show you them together if I can without blinding you with the mirror. So put that there and that there. So you can see that the shadows in the Lorac Pro are smaller, and in this one, out of the 15, you get, is it two? Yeah, two very large shadows in the lighter colours. So you actually probably get a little bit more for your money in the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. Price-wise, that's a difficult one, because this one in the UK, if we talk about UK prices and USA prices, in the UK, the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette is £45, plus postage if you're ordering it online, because it's not in many shops. Debenhams is where I got it online. The Lorac Pro, however, is super expensive in the UK. You would have to get it off eBay or Amazon. I had a quick look at Amazon this morning, and Amazon, it's selling for £80. I think it's £78 plus postage, so super expensive. And on eBay, even then, it's expensive. I paid £50 for mine from eBay, including postage, so £5 more expensive than this. And I think if you keep on checking eBay, and or are prepared to wait for it to come international and risk getting the charges, then you should be able to get it for around £50. But there is that risk of getting the custom charges. So that's UK. In the USA, I think this one is actually more expensive. This one I think is $45 and this one is $42, something like that. So I think that it's much of a muchness in the USA price-wise. So let's have a look at how comparable the colours are. I'll kind of use this as the base, and then I'll show you kind of swatches in this one that are the same. So you've got a white that you don't have anything like that in the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. You've got a cream, which is matte, and you have got a cream matte in the Chocolate Bar palette. I don't know whether you can see that from there, but the Chocolate Bar palette cream one is more yellowy. So the cream, yeah, not really going to show on my hands, but this one is more white. The one in the Chocolate Bar palette is more cream. You've got a taupe in this one, and you have got, what would be like this taupe? And then you've got milk chocolate in the Chocolate Bar palette. And the difference between those two, barely any at all actually, when you look at them. Not much difference at all in those. So you've got that one. Light pink in this palette. I love this colour. It's really, really soft. It's a matte colour because the top row is mattes in the Lorac Pro. You have got a colour in the Chocolate Bar palette that is pink, but I actually prefer the one in the Lorac Pro because it's lighter, whereas the one in the Chocolate Bar is a real pink. It's very, very strong pink, if I I can get it to swatch. So that's the chocolate bar palette, that's the Lorac Pro. And I guess that's just down to your preference. I mean, obviously it didn't stop me buying the palette, but I do prefer the one from this palette. You've then got mauve. Now, mauve is something, there isn't anything like that colour in here, and I do love the mauve colour in here. It is just the perfect kind of purpley brown, and it's kind of like Quarry from MAC, and yeah, like I said, there's nothing really like that in this palette at all. Then you've got Sable, which is a brown matte, and what have you got in here that would be like that? Semi-sweet. Semi-sweet. Pretty much the same. They are both mattes, and yeah, again swatched they look exactly the same. Then you've got Espresso, which is a dark brown, and you've got Triple Fudge, a dark brown. Again, there's not really any difference at all between those two swatches, so you get that the same. So for that first row of the Lorac, the only kind of ones that you're not getting in the chocolate bar palette are the white and the mauve. The pinks are different, but you're still getting a pink, but that's the only difference. Oh no, actually there's a black at the end here, and you don't get a black in this palette. So again, that's a useful one to have a black in the palette. So that's all the mattes. We'll go down the shimmers. So the first one you've got is Nude, and it's a kind of pinky colour. And in it, the Too Faced, you've got Champagne Truffle, and they are both identical, I would say. Yeah, absolutely identical. Can't tell the difference between those. Then you've got Champagne. Now, Champagne, I don't think there's a colour like it in the chocolate bar palette, but let me swatch it for you next to that nude colour. There's not that much difference between those two, so I don't think that that is a huge loss. Next, we've got Gold, which looks like that. And then here you've got Creme Brulee. Now, on that one, the gold in the Lorac Pro is a little bit more warm, but let's see if perhaps the light bronzes are better. The next colour along in here is light bronze. I'm trying to see if that's more of a colour, but it's not. That's better for Marzipan. So I'll swatch all of those so you can see, yeah, that's a perfect match for Marzipan. So yeah, the gold in the Lorac Pro is much warmer. That's the gold in the Lorac Pro, that's the gold in the Too Faced. Then these two here are the light bronze from the Lorac Pro and the Marzipan from the Too Faced chocolate palette. So they are identical, but these two are a little bit different, but you get a gold. Again, that's down to your preference, and I think I actually prefer the one from the chocolate bar palette because I like a lighter gold if I'm going to use a gold eyeshadow. So we're down to Pewter, and on Pewter, that's what that looks like. Let's see what we've got. I've swatched two there because there's two that could match that one. So this one is Pewter, and then these two are Hope Chocolate and Hazelnut, and I think just one is lighter than the other, but you could see how they're all pretty similar and there's not much difference. I would say that actually the one in this palette is a little bit cooler and the ones in the chocolate bar palette are warmer, because the chocolate bar palette is definitely a warm palette. Okay, next on to Garnet, which I wondered if there would be a colour, but there is, and it is Amaretto. Yeah, so that's those two colours together. Let's swatch them. That's them swatched. You can see the one from the Lorac Pro, which is Garnet there, is slightly redder than the one in the chocolate bar palette, but not by much. And there is actually another shade in here called Cherry Cordial, which is more of a matte, that is more red. Put that on the other side. Actually, it looks more red in the pan than it does on the swatch, but that's the one from the Too Faced chocolate bar palette. But these two are similar, same kind of texture as well, you know, in that sort of shiny texture. When I compared them, I am comparing them like for like, as in their texture, not just their colour. Deep Purple, you've got Deep Purple in this one, and then in this one you have got Candid Violet. Now, they look quite different. Let's see what they look like swatched. Yeah, they look different swatched, and I have to say, swatched, I much prefer this one, but actually on the eyes I prefer neither of them, because I've tried both of them on my eyes and they don't look purple. But you get a purple in both. So again, that's down to a preference, whether you want a darker purple. If you preferred a light pink, you definitely want a mauve, you like a warmer gold, and you like a deeper purple, then this one would be the best one for you. But the final colour is Slate, and there isn't anything I don't think like that in here. In fact, that Slate is probably closer to the purple. Let's have a look. Yeah. There's not really anything like that one, but if you kind of built that purple up, it's a bit more closer to the slate colour in here. So let's have a look overall. So let's have a look colour wise. In the Lorac Pro, you've got that light pink, which is matte and is a beautiful, really very, very light pink, whereas in here you do get a pink, but it's more of a bubblegum pink. It's more of a strong pink, so again, that's down to your preference. Mauve you've got in here, you haven't got anything like that in here, so that's a kind of purpley brown colour. And you've got a black, that's in the matte. So those are the differences in that side. Then on the shimmer side, the gold is a warmer gold in the Lorac Pro. It's a bit of a darker one. Then the deep purple is darker also, and you've got slate at the bottom there, which you don't have in here. But then looking at it the opposite way, you've actually got two colours in here, Black Forest Truffle and Gilded Ganache, that you don't have anything like that in this palette, which they are kind of, they're just more sort of chocolatey colours, but they've got a little bit of sparkling. You can't really see it probably on camera, but you can see it, you know, when you're moving your hand around, they've got a little bit of sparkling. There's not really anything in the Lorac Pro palette with sparkle as such. It's more, they're more shiny. The other thing you've got in this one is you've got the bigger shadows. So you've got the small shadows here, but in here, if you know that you're going to use your blending and brow colours a lot more, this one is more of a highlight colour, you've got a bigger size, which I think is really, really useful. You've also probably got more in general. I think these small ones look like they're a little bit bigger than what you get in here, because I can see I've already nearly hit pan on a couple of these. There's not that much eyeshadow in them. One thing I noticed in here that there is nothing like in there is this salted caramel. Is it salted caramel? Yes. Now this one is like soft brown, and there isn't anything at all like this in that was a big swatch, wasn't it? in this palette here in the Lorac Pro. So that's something else if you're really interested in getting that nice sort of warm colour. There isn't anything like that in here. I would say this one is more warm, it leans more warm. This one isn't particularly cool though, because that's one of the reasons I bought it, because I was finding every palette cool, but this one is kind of a mix of both. You get kind of everything in this one. The one thing this does have that is very unique and you won't find in any of the palettes is that it smells of chocolate, and I think that's a lovely thing, and it really does smell like, as in, you don't have to just smell them, although you can smell them like that, but it's because they've got cocoa in, but when you're actually using the shadows you can smell cocoa. So that to me is a really lovely side effect, if you like. And I'm not sure if I'd have been, like if I had to buy one palette, if both of these were stolen but I could only buy one, I'm honestly not sure which one I'd go for. So now I haven't talked much about the pigmentation and blendability and everything of these shadows, and that is because there isn't any that I have anything bad to say about. Both of the palettes have really buttery, creamy shadows that are really well pigmented, really easy to blend, and I think they're on a par with each other. There's, you know, there's not one winner when it comes to pigment or how easy they are to blend. I've not used every single colour in this palette. I have not used the ones with a little bit of sparkle in them because that's not really me. So I suppose I don't know how well they blend, but then again, neither have I used Sable in here, and I don't think I've used Espresso, but I've used most of the other colours in here. But from swatching them, I can see that they're all the same quality. So I think quality wise, they're exactly the same. I don't think there's much more to tell you than that. The mirrors are the same size. You know, the palettes are the same sort of length, but obviously, like I said, I think this one's more travel friendly just because it's lighter and smaller. So I think the rest is just down to you and what you are attracted to, and also whether or not you've got the patience to wait for something from America, because, you know, it was because I desperately wanted this that I ordered it. There's other ones, like there's the IT Cosmetics Naturally Pretty palette that I would love to have, but I'm not prepared to pay the money it costs and the wait to get it from USA. I'll just wait until I'm over there, hopefully in a year or so, and if it's still out I'll buy it then. Anyway, I hope that was useful to you. Let me know if you have these, which one is your favourite, or if you're intending to buy them, which one you're going to buy, and that will help me decide if I should do some more looks on either of these. Thank you very much for watching me today. It seems like my lipstick has held up pretty well, so yeah, I'm pretty impressed with that. I might put another layer on and see if I can get away with another layer to kind of smooth it out a bit. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll speak to you again very soon.